112. 16-foot yellow and orange single lane slide with a pool. Right there she is. All right, here we go. I'm 6.25 on line now. 6.5. 6.25 would have been a half. 6.5. Now 75. 6.5 would have been a 75. You ain't looking at this big old slide. 675 now 700, sir. 675 7. Now quarter. 7.25 now 7.
Today, we're going to talk about auctions. And more specifically, we're going to talk about buying inflatables at an auction. Now, auctions have really kind of grown over the years. It's always kind of been an event where, you can bring lots of people in. But with the advent of the internet and the integration of all the other things that are going on as far as advertising and showcasing and even auctions online, it has morphed into something that has become bigger than it has ever been before. There are literally companies that are, ginormous in size that are dealing every single month all over the nation, all over the world with items that range from teeny tiny all the way up to multi-million dollar items, and they are rolling them through. The big companies have replicated, and there are several of them that are giant. And they compete against each other, and it's like there's a never ending source of customers that keep coming into them and buying the equipment and keep going. A lot of the equipment is recycled and moved through and bought in one auction and sold in another, and the money is always there. But what we're seeing now is something that is getting to a fever pitch pace, and I can only imagine that it is going to saturate eventually, and we'll go from there. Now, the good things about auctions is that if something does reach that point to where it's in the saturation, they'll drop it for a few months and move on to some other things that are popular, and then maybe kind of revisit it and come back. And then there's always the staple items that literally you need tons of. So today, though, we're talking specifically about inflatables and how to buy them, and some things to look out for, and some good things that an auction will allow you to do that maybe you don't get to do somewhere else. Most of the stuff that you're going to buy is either going to be on display, so you'll be able to see it, or you have a pretty good idea of what it is through a kind of a thorough viewing or pictures of several, different views, and a description that is really, really in depth, and it gives you the opportunity to know exactly what you're getting and where you're getting it from. This is really important for you if you can, especially when you're doing inflatables, if you can inspect before, you really need to inspect before. And there are some things that you need to look out for. One, any kind of damage, any kind of wear, any kind of stress on the seams or anything like that. These are all telltale signs that the unit has been heavily used. And if you see stuff, then there's probably stuff that is unseen that is more. Be very, very careful, because something that may seem like it's working may not be up to par, may have some stress holes, may have some stretch seams, may have some problems. Always look and see how many blowers it takes to get the unit up, and how many what size the blower is. On the manufacturer's tag, there should be a recommendation for the size of the blower that is on the unit. If they're using more than that to get the unit up, that's a telltale sign that you need to look out for. Also, the pliability of the unit. If the unit is crispy, or if it seems like it's stiff or brittle, that could be a problem, because what vinyl does over time is it changes its state and goes from that pliable state into a more brittle state as it ages. The longer it goes, the more exposure it has to UV rays and things like that, more crispy it's going to get, and that can cause problems, especially with heavy use, and especially on pieces that are used during certain times of the year, like the summer, or the water slide. Another thing you need to look at is the age of the unit. If you're looking at a unit that is several years old, you need to know that there are lifespans on these units. Now, the lifespan of the unit is obviously expanded with, the amount of use that it has, or I should say it's reduced by the amount of use it has. So if something is rolled up and put in a warehouse for 10 years, it will degrade, but it's not going to degrade nowhere near as fast as something that is used heavily. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can look at the age and also look at the wear and tear and come up with an idea of how much, wear and tear it's been used over so many years. The manufacturer is also another thing that you need to look at. If it's not a reputable company, if it's not somebody that's been in it for a lot of years, if it's not somebody that offers, warranties and things like that, you probably need to be very, very wary of this. The commercial grade inflatables use a heavier vinyl. You use a commercial grade vinyl, 15, 18, 22 or up to 20 ounce vinyl. And the reason why this is, and it's not because they're trying to make your life hard, it's because they're trying to make something that is commercial grade and they know is going to have a lot of use. So you need to be very, very careful when you're looking at things. If it's made of a thin material or a thin vinyl, it is probably not made for commercial use and you need to steer clear of it. The only other thing that I want to caution you about is knockoff units. If you see a unit that has, some kind of character and it's not licensed for that character, that can be a problem. It creates an issue. And honestly, those kind of people who are not going through the licensing process and are making units in China or wherever that are knockoffs of this usually don't put the kind of workmanship into these units that allow it to be a good unit and to last for a long time. So watch for that. Now let's get on to the good stuff about an auction. Like I said before, you get to see what you're getting, and that is a huge, huge plus. Knowing what you're getting into and knowing, what the size of the unit, the shape of the unit, the wear and tear on the unit, the exact colors of the unit, all of those things are important and allow you to do things. Also, auctions will give you an opportunity to make a heck of a deal as long as you're making a heck of a deal. Remember, if you buy a unit that is older, you have taken away a lot of the value on that. It's just like if you buy a car, it's just like if you buy a house or anything like that. Older doesn't mean better in the inflatable business. There are some that are well made. There are some that may have less wear and tear on them, and they could be 10 years old and be perfectly fine. But if you're getting into a unit that is 5, 10, 15 years old, you need to be very, very cautious. That's not going to be a unit that's going to hold up the way that it does. And it has a lot of interior moving parts and things that you don't know about, baffles and things like that can give way and that can be catastrophic if they do, causing you not to be able to rent the unit safely. Another good thing is that, like I said, you kind of can gauge what's going on in your area. So if people are if people are interested in something, then and obviously it's something that is worth interest. So an auction allows you to kind of gauge the crowd and see what's going on. It allows you to know that you're getting into a unit that is popular and that a lot of people have interest in. Be very careful of this because a lot of times you'll get caught up in that auction fever and you're just going to bid, 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 and you're going to pay more money for an item than you would have paid if you would have just bought it brand new from a reputable source. This goes for blowers, this goes for inflatables, this goes for stakes, this goes for everything. Do your research. If you don't know how much an item is, you need to do your research and find out how much you want to spend. If you're spending $1,000 on a 12-year-old bounce house, unless there's something special about that bounce house, you literally can buy a brand new one for $1,200 to $1,500. Why are you spending that kind of money? Don't get caught up in that auction fever to where you're bidding, bidding, bidding because everyone else is bidding. The last thing I want to caution you guys about is to know the fees of your auction going in. Sometimes there's can be an auction fee that goes 10, 15 or up. And also remember you're paying tax on that. So if you're adding 20% onto the price that you're paying, it can go up really, really quick, and it'd be a situation where you're paying a lot more money than you thought that you were going to pay. So be very, very careful about auction fees and things like that, and just know going in what you got. Hey, look, auctions are a wonderful place to find good stuff and to make sure you're getting the things that you want. you guys can go to these auctions and have fun, if nothing else, and enjoy, the everything that's out there, the atmosphere and everything. Just don't get caught up into the traps of the auction, and make sure you're getting the things that you want and the items that are going to be best for you and your business. I want to tell you guys I appreciate everything that you do. I want to welcome you guys to keep watching the channel, tell everybody about us, and also remember there's no such thing as competition. We're in this together. If I can do anything for you, let me know. Thanks, and you guys have fun at the auction.